Hello, everybody, and welcome to this week's episode of Magically Cruising, the cruise podcast where we share our personal cruise tips and reviews to help you make the most out of your next sailing. My name's Kieran. I'm an independent travel agent specializing in all things cruise, Disney, and North America, and I'm joined by my fellow co-host.
Hi, I'm Sarah, and I write at Cruising with Kids and Mini Travellers travel websites.
And today, Sarah, we're going to answer probably the most poignant question that I get asked quite a lot at this time of the year as we kind of get into the summer holiday period. Is there such thing as a last-minute deal anymore?
Do you know why I never get a last-minute deal? Because I'm always so booked up in advance, as you know.
You are always well in advance.
But sometimes I think I shouldn't do it. I should just wait and get a deal.
Well, it's like you're already asking about booking your next load of cruises, and I'm like, Sarah, they're not on sale yet, and they won't be for months. You've got a while to wait yet. You're like, well, I need them to go on sale. I need to plan out my holidays for the next 3 years.
Yeah, so that's why I never get last minute deals.
This is why we thought this would be a good topic as well, though, because you do book well in advance, and historically as well, I've been between the two type of thing. I always have my big holiday booked as far out as possible, and then I always leave room in for a kind of a last minute deal to see what comes in. And as a travel agent, we're always constantly told people to say that last minute deals are gone, they're not a thing, they don't exist. And there is truth to that, which is why kind of we thought this would be a good conversation episode to have, because definitely, depending on your circumstances and depending on your mindset, last minute deals could be a terrible decision for you. But if you're flexible and you're not as bothered about what you're doing or where you're going, last minute deals could be a great way to save some money as well. So that's why we thought this would be a good kind of conversation, especially now that we're kind of coming into the summer holiday period. And that's why this conversation, we were having a WhatsApp chat, wasn't we, the other day? And we were kind of like, somebody was asking questions. And we were like, well, probably not going to happen for them because of this situation. So I don't know where the best place to start on this topic would be. I don't know if you've got any thoughts.
I suppose for me, it's conditioning. Because we've got two boys, we've cruised since Joe was a couple of months old, 6 months old, 7 months old. Whenever the first time he could cruise, we were on a ship. And because we had kids and because we're in a cabin of 4, you have to book in advance to get the deals. Like the kids' prices are only available for a certain amount of time. To get the 4 berth cabins is nigh on impossible. You've got to be quick. And then, so I think we've just always, for all these years, booked in advance because of that. And I'm really struggling now. Sometimes they come, sometimes they don't come, but we're all pretty flexible. You know, one's working in at uni, one's a chef. So we can go when we want. And actually, for Joe, being a chef, we're actually better going out of peak times because he's busy at work. So we could get the lates market now because we don't want to share a cabin anymore. We get them their own cabin. But we're conditioned that we have to book as soon as that cruise comes out. And that's a family thing. So, I mean, I don't know, what's your thoughts on that? On is it still the same for families?
No, definitely. I think there's 2 different markets, I think, to look at with this, is the family market and the couples market. If you're in the family market and you want to go during those peak, like, school holiday times, and we're talking purely from the British point of view, I'm sure this applies to the Americans, just the dates will be different because I don't know when American summer holidays are. Spring break, I know, is a thing. I just don't know the exact dates it falls on. But for us here in the UK anyway, definitely any half term, any summer holiday period, those sailings will be gone within about 48 hours of those new sailings going on sale, basically. I had somebody who inquired about going on Princess doing Norwegian fjords next year or the year before, 2026, sorry, they were looking at going, and they literally got in touch the day the itineraries went on general sale, but they were already gone, or the family berthing cabins for 4 were gone for that sailing because it was the start of the summer holidays. It was kind of the Easter break one. And she wants to 4 berth, and they were all gone on pre-sale, basically, for customers who have loyalty. So they had the 2-3 day advantage over her. So she was like, I guess I'll have to pick another date then. And I'm like, I wish I could help you, but there are only so many, especially on kind of some of the less family oriented brands like Princess. Now, we've had this chat. Princess do families. They're just not a family cruise line, as in they don't have a whole range of kids clubs and slides and things like that. So they only have a limited number of 4 berth cabins type of thing that are really fit for the requirements of people who don't want to have bunk beds and all that type of stuff. So they are like gold dust, and you have to really jump in there and get in them straight away. If you leave it too late, they're going to be gone.
Well, I suppose looking at the transatlantic, we're going on in October. And we booked that a year ago. When it came out, we booked it, didn't we? The week it came out.
Yeah, pretty much,
me and Ronnie got the last 2 grand suites on the ship. And people are actually putting in the Facebook group, if anybody doesn't want it, if anybody cancels and got a suite, will you let me know before you cancel? Because people want those suites.
Well, didn't we just before this now, we were looking at the transatlantic from 2026 over from America to the UK, and all the suites have gone already. And that sailing would have been on sale for 2-3 months type of thing. And that's already sold out on all the suites type of thing. And this happens historically. So in demand, even for couples aren't immune to this. I think that's a great point you just raised there as well. So couples who maybe want suites, or they want particular cabins, like any cabins that maybe have bigger balconies, or they have special perks, reserve collection, things like that, they will equally be some of the first to go as well, because they're obviously going to be in high demand. So those people who like to sail in suite class and they want all those perks, they will obviously book up as early as possible to make sure they get the prime pickings of their preferred suite.
Well, I was looking yesterday, actually, just out of curiosity at Princess, just because I'm so stressed about not being able to book Royal Caribbean for 2026. I thought, I'll look at Princess, but I'm waiting. But I thought, I'll look at the Sanctuary suites and for 2026 summer, and a lot were sold out for the Sanctuary.
Yeah.
And then there was, is it the Cove? So yeah, already, if you want that certain, like you say, that certain room, they go really quickly. You can also get good deals, can't you? I think as a family, if you book really far in advance, and I know we're on about booking late, but obviously this is relevant. I mean, when the boys were younger, they cruised on the Queen Mary for £1. Well, it was actually the flight as well. A cruise and flight to New York and back for £1. It was just unbelievable.
Crazy.
Like, we couldn't not book it. So you do get amazing deals, like your 3rd and 4th discounts and stuff like that. Less so with Royal Caribbean, I'd say, for kids. Do they do many good deals or not? They didn't used to.
Not that I've spotted on them. No, they've been, and this is the thing, I think where this has kind of jumped off, and we'll probably jump ahead a little bit, but it's a case of, and I've had a very firm feeling on this, of last minute deals, more last minute deals, not necessarily like spot offers. They're always going to be bookings or cabins that other people don't want. So what you're going to find is the cruise lines will be trying to fill those cabins as much as possible. They could be inside cabins that haven't sold, or they could just be because the ship's got an abundance of balcony cabins and they haven't sold out, and they need to hit a certain threshold to make the ship justified for revenue purposes. That'll be when they'll throw the last minute offers at you to kind of get you on board. But as for kind of spot deals like free flights and things like that, we've had some with Royal for the UK market. This is now, again, I'm a UK travel agent, but we've had like flights for £99 type of thing with Royal Caribbean. But again, they tend to target more the regional departures. So kind of Scotland, Newcastle, certain pockets type of thing, rather than the core airports like London or Manchester, just because they're so well traveled. They tend to kind of buy an allocation, or maybe they'll charter a plane full of cabins to try to fill up some spot dates. But again, they're very limited of their certain dates that you have to go on. And again, probably because they're dates that are not selling already anyway.
Yeah. So I suppose that goes to the second thing, which is who benefits most from the late deals.
I would say the people who kind of are the ones who are flexible. That's the gist of it. And if you are completely flexible, so, people who can either work from home and they can work from ship, which is what I'm able to do, then we benefit, because I've learned now to leave a couple of dates free in my calendar each year to kind of go, I'll see what last minute deals come out, and whatever that is, whether it's a last minute land holiday or a last minute cruise deal that we get offered, I'll hold out and see if I can squeeze something in type of thing if that comes up. People like that who can be flexible and can be agile, and generally couples, just because the majority of cruise offers, at least anyway, that are going to be last minute savers, are going to be primarily going to be based on 2 berth sharing or based on 2 adult sharing.
And unless you're off peak, though, because I think this is a really good strategy with families. Some people, like in our Facebook group, so some people will say traveling with kids and traveling with young kids is really easy. And there was one lady recently that went in and said it was just hell on earth, and I just really didn't enjoy it. They weren't in a routine.
Really?
So I think you've got to know your kids and know what works for you. But I always say this on my blog when I'm writing about Disney, like, do it before the kids are free, because they get into Disney free.
Yeah.
And all right, they're not necessarily going to get on a cruise for free, but you do get those deals. If you've got toddlers and they're not at school, you've got more chance of getting the deal off holiday time. It's a lot cheaper.
Well, this literally goes in, and I saw this morning. So this is Royal Caribbean for this year, but this kind of highlights the conversation we're having ultimately. Again, for American listeners, this is a British offer, sailing on Anthem of the Seas this year. And this isn't a sales pitch. This is just an example. But they've just posted now like a fantastic family deal. But see if you could find out what the crux is. So 7-night sailing for a family of 4 sharing for £2,092 on Anthem of the Seas. Now that sounds incredible, right?
Uh-huh.
What do you think the compromise is going to be, though, on that sailing to get a less than around about £500 per person for a 7-night sailing? That isn't a balcony as well.
It's still eating fuels.
No, it's worse, in my opinion.
Sorry, I like sun.
No, Fjords actually has a premium, but this is literally going to be departing then on, in fact, it's an 8-night sailing. So it's an extra night basically thrown in for free. 2nd of October, 2024, you need to be sailing on board to get this. So a family of 4 traveling in October. So compromise being, it's the end of the season. Pretty short after this, she's going to be doing a transatlantic back over to America then. Obviously, then you're going to be going to the amazing ports of, like, they're not that bad, I'm being harsh on them, but you've got Bilbao, you've got A Coruña, Lisbon and Vigo. So again, you're kind of looking at that Portugal, northern Spain, the Bay of Biscay region. So again, it's not everyone's favourite cruise region.
I love Bilbao and I like Vigo. I like Cherbourg.
Trying to go on it? Family of 4, take the kids away. It's just the thing, though, that would be double to do that in August is what I'm getting at, basically minimum type of thing. So it's just to show yes, the weather's probably not going to be as good, so you're probably not going to be making the most of all the sun decks in October. It's not as in demand as an itinerary. The most popular itineraries on Anthem, at least anyway, are going to kind of the Norwegian fjords, or the longer ones going down to the Mediterranean. They're going to be the more popular ones. They're the ones that are going to demand the premium. It's not that that's a bad itinerary route. It's just not the sexiest itinerary route that they offer throughout the year type of thing. And it's in October.
It is the Bay of Biscay that's the problem, isn't it, there? It's not.
Yeah.
Because I love Vigo, love Bilbao, like I say, love Cherbourg, because there is loads to do. And actually, Cherbourg, if there are any families looking, you literally step out the cruise port and do 20 steps and you're in the best museum. And you've got the Titanic, you've got all the submersibles, you've got a giant, what's it called? A boat that goes undersea, submarine, and you actually go in the submarine. It's amazing.
Really?
People just write it off. They go, oh, Cherbourg, rubbish. It's brilliant. I spent hours in there the other week on my own.
Yeah. Don't get me wrong, I would happily do it. It's just, it's not, of all the itineraries of the year, it's not the most exciting
it's not
one to
Rome,
do.
Barcelona and Naples, and I get what. So how much is that?
Yeah. So for a family of 4, £2,092.
CL.
8 nights as well. So now, annoyingly, this is a rarity, but again, it just goes to show how many family berths are available on this voyage, because 2 sharing is £939 per person. So you're ultimately paying about £300 more to take 2 kids with you.
That's brilliant, and that's the thing with families. It's to get a deal like that is brilliant.
Yeah. Now, I haven't looked, but I bet you if I look to find a family of 4 through all of July, August time, I probably will struggle. If there's any available at all.
Well, I know, obviously you know this, but one of my friends was toying with doing Oasis this summer, family of 3, and she said, oh, I just can't find anything, and I think she found one that was just like extortionate. But then, so I said there'll be other cruises with Royal Caribbean in the summer, and my thing of you don't want to go out of Southampton, or so whatever it was going out of Southampton. So I said let's find something going out of Barcelona or Rome, or and we couldn't find anything for a family of 3. In the holidays.
It's tough.
Not anything.
Really tough. Summer holidays will always, generally they will sell out within a couple of months of going on sale, but if they don't sell out to that point, they will sell out in January. Guaranteed January. Because that's when my booking cycle tends to be customers coming to me around about January time for their family holidays. And bear in mind, we don't specialize in family holidays. We specialize in couples. We get family holidays. I'm not saying we don't, but just our core market is couples. The family market, if they generally contact me in January looking for summer holidays, they're going to have to make a compromise on something. I don't know what, but they will have to make compromises, because generally all those families are booked as soon as those itineraries go on sale, and they will get the head start on it. To the point now that I'm now booking customers for 2025 and beyond now, because most of this year is sold out already for family holidays.
Wow.
That's not to say you may not find like a last availability. Obviously, when payment in full date comes around, then that will be usually when people fall off the bookings, they have to cancel. So maybe cabins will come back available again, and you'll get a mini sale to kind of fill up those cabins that did drop out. But if there's circumstances, as I say, they're holidays that other people don't want, and you will be paying more for that cabin than the people who paid for them when they put their deposit down when the cabins went on sale. Because typically the cheapest time to book will always be the week it goes on sale and about 3 weeks before the ship sails. They're going to be the 2 cheapest times to book, straight away or last minute. In between, it depends on a number of factors.
Right. So so we've talked about the best deal for families, late deal. Um, so if you're a family, then when are you, so if you was looking to book for next year, you're still cutting it fine, really, aren't you? You need to be getting
Well,
booking, really.
it depends on the region type of thing. I think for what we call ex-UK in the industry, so cruise ships leaving the UK, next summer is already quite busy ultimately. So you're going to have to just be flexible type of thing, but definitely get in sooner rather than later. Definitely you want to be booking before the end of the summer holidays this year, because what will happen is people who are on their holidays this year will book when they're on board the ship. So they will book for next summer. So those last remaining
Well,
couple of cabins that are there will probably be gone by the time the summer holidays are finished now. So again, I would say now is the time to be looking at next year type of thing. That's why we thought we'd do this episode, just to kind of put some
mm,
pressure on people ultimately to get in there sooner rather than later. And then it's keeping an eye on it, and it really is. Now, there is no tool. There is no tool. It doesn't exist that you can basically say, let me know if somebody cancels and it becomes available again. It's all manual. So don't think travel agents will sit there and have a system that tells them, I don't get an email. There's no wait lists, especially not with Royal anyway. And even with P&O, there is a waitlist system, but honestly, the cabins go before the email comes to me telling me that cabin's available. That's how fast these things go, type of thing, because people are constantly just checking all the time. You just have to keep an eye on it, unfortunately, and see if a cabin becomes available all of a sudden.
and if not, then you're going to be like me, like sat on your edge of your chair waiting for 2026 to come out so you can book your next two cruises. But
Yeah.
so have you seen any amazing deals? So obviously we've talked about families, but we're in a position now where we don't always travel with the kids, and they're old enough, they're adults, they can stay at home. So what are your best deals for going for adults this year? Because I know Donna and Darren are very good at this. Donna is, for anyone that doesn't know, my partner in cruising with kids, and they're very good at getting late deals and just going at the last minute.
Yeah.
But what sort of deals are there this year, if you want to do that and if you can do that?
It's still a case of compromise at the end of the day. You know, Donna and Darren are really good because they, like the one they booked now go in this month. They booked it literally within about when did they book it? They booked it last month. They go in this month, but that holiday changed 5 times in the times they were chatting to her. They kept sending me new itineraries, new details because they were finding something, but then the cabin they wanted was selling up. It was going up in price, so they were being flexible. I think that's the key thing here. Is if you want to fly, if you want to cruise and do the Greek Isles on Quantum of the Seas, you're limited to just picking just that ship. However, if you say I want to
Well,
sail the Med, or I want to do the Greek Isles where I'm open to any cruise line, and you really do have to be open to any cruise line, then you're likely to find a good deal because you can search NCL, MSC, P&O, TUI, you can search all the different brands and find the best out of all of them. But if you're somebody who only likes sailing Royal Caribbean or only likes sailing Celebrity, I got bad news for you. There's only one or two ships doing it. You have, your choices are limited. So I think that's the difference. Like, I think if you want to sail a Royal ship in those months, then you can search and see what different ships Royal have got around the world type of thing. But you still need to be open-minded, even if you're a couple. It's not a case of they're waiting for you to book. There's still going to be limitations.
could you come to you and say, right, I want to go away in 2 weeks? Like, is there stuff there?
There is definitely. I think as you get closer to the summer holidays, no, equally for couples, there's just pockets here and there type of thing. But definitely there is still availability for couples type of thing. Definitely. It's luck of the draw whether it's a good deal or whether it's a bad deal, because every brand treats this differently, which again was sparked off the conversation around this. You've got some cruise lines like Virgin Voyages, for example, who just somehow seem to be going into, it feels almost a bit like, and I'm going to get told off for saying this, but it feels a little bit like panic stations, whereby all of a sudden, now that we're getting into kind of the summer departures, there's loads of deals coming out. They've just announced a whole new comedy cruise. They're giving away like flights, cruises, discounted flights to get to the Mediterranean to join them. It feels like all of a sudden it's like, oh, okay, where's all these new offers come from? Other brands like Royal Caribbean are doing very little to entice you to the late market. They're just kind of like, oh, ships are as full as we want them. Come if you'd like, type of thing. It really does depend by brand, basically. And that was another reason why we thought this episode would be interesting. It's just kind of like, are some brands reacting or overreacting to kind of the late market and trying to get those last minute bookings over the line?
But then Virgin Voyages, basically, their season will be flipped to everybody else's, won't they? Because
100%.
I would avoid going away in the summer holidays at all costs now, because I don't want to go to the airport. I don't want to get stuck. Like, we've booked a land holiday for next year, and it's turned out it's Easter weekend, doesn't it? So, I mean, I've already booked my lounges for Sani. So I bought all my lounges. I bought fast pass for fast track for security. Because really, we want to avoid, where possible, going away when all the schools are off. We love kids, but we don't need to go in that time now. So why pay that premium? But then if you want to go on Virgin, you've still got to go on the flights with the millions of people that are going away at peak season. So I bet less people want to travel.
Well, there's that as well. There's also kind of like weather patterns in the Med this year. So last year we had obviously a notoriously hot summer. So they're saying the general consensus across the industry from all these people who track all these things is that people are avoiding the summer holidays now. They're not wanting to go away during that peak period because, as you say, prices are higher. But also with last year's heat wave, people didn't enjoy going away during the 6 weeks holiday. So even families now are saying they're holding off until kind of half term in winter. So they're going for a winter sun holiday, which is bad for cruise because most of the ships have gone to America by that point. So there's not many cruises, but land holidays especially are shifting their patterns now, and they go into kind of outside of the peak season to avoid the costs, but also to avoid the hot weather. Virgin's a bit of an odd one because, as you say, they're adult only. But those families will probably, their parents or the grandparents will probably be going away with their kids, with their families, to a family destination. So maybe that's the reason why. Some brands, it does feel like they're flogging a lot of kind of really good deals to try and get you over the line this time of the year to kind of fill those last available cabins.
And again, I mean, when we did our Greek cruise, we did that was it the beginning of July or the end of June?
I think you said June time, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was end of June, and that was too hot. So when we're booking for next year, I want to go at the beginning of May, end of May, beginning of June. That because it was just too hot to walk around. It's all right if you sat by a pool, but you can't get round a pool on a cruise ship. It's too hot to not have a pool, and you can't walk around pool because the pools are too hot. So for me, all day long, my favourite now season is Caribbean, January, February. It's amazing. No, so because you get over Christmas and there's no post-Christmas blues and it's away from the snow and the horrible weather and into a bit of sun. And I just think that's perfect.
Well, this goes back to kind of a shift in the industry as well, as you were saying. So a lot of, with the issues going on in the Red Sea type of thing, a lot of the ships can't transit through the Suez Canal at the moment. So they're rediverting a lot of the ships back to the Caribbean for winter. Also, the cost of flights as well. And we've talked about this in the past on the podcast, but flights going to Miami, from the UK. But equally as well, then ships from America come into Europe. The flight costs have gone through the roof now. So now basically more and more Americans are choosing to cruise closer to home to save on international flights. But also Brits as well, who don't want to travel during the peak summer period in the UK, are choosing to cruise more in the winter. So winter demand is higher than ever. But there's also now more ships sailing as well in the Caribbean through the winter months. So you can find some great deals. But again, it's about getting in there before it's too late. I've had customers who quite literally 2 weeks before wanted to do a Caribbean cruise, and the prices we were getting were more expensive than flying to the Med in summer holidays type of thing because they wanted to go 2 weeks before Christmas. Again, timing's key type of thing of obviously going over that Christmas New Year period. It's going to have a premium, but generally, as you've booked, like February, March time, wonderful time to cruise, lots of availability and some great prices.
And yeah, an amazing deal. I mean, we've booked Celebrity and I'm thrilled with it and I just cannot wait. And, we've done that for a few years now, haven't we? And it just really works. I've really enjoyed my post-Christmas trip. So definitely if you're a couple, it's definitely... And when people book with you, do they book the full package? Do they book the flights and the cruise?
It really does vary by the customers because people like yourself, they may have air miles or they may get rewards if they book with air miles. So they always some prefer to look after their own flights. A lot of our customers will book a package because we can get kind of discounted airfare rates if we package you in with a cruise. Not always, but sometimes. So it's a mixed bag. It really is a mixed bag.
We use our air miles, obviously, and that makes a big difference to us. But then we book all our cruise through you and then But then we take that risk. We run a big risk by doing that because it's not covered. So last year our flight got cancelled and I had to sort all that out myself. Where if I'd have booked through you, I'd have messaged you and gone to the pub.
Yeah, pretty much. It's one of the things. So this only applies to bookings from the UK, but there are two protections that kick in. You've obviously got your ATOL protection, which is a big deal, but that primarily protects you if the airline goes out of business, which, touch wood, is rare. Or if we go out of business, sorry, because it's a protection for the tour operator. And if we package in the flights, we become the tour operator or whoever we work with. There's also another one called package travel regulations as well, which is actually more important, but doesn't get as much PR or press because they don't have a nice spiky logo and TV commercials for it. But package travel regulations is basically what ensures that you get the holiday you paid for. And that's the one that dictates who the tour operator is in this case. So by booking your flights and your cruise and your hotel in the same place at the same time, I become the package travel provider ultimately. So I'm legally bound to give you the holiday you paid for. So if anything goes wrong, your flights are delayed, your hotel goes out of business or anything like that, it's my responsibility to find a suitable substitution at, a reasonable cost to you type of thing. And there's a certain degree of protection that comes into that. If you book your flight separately and you book your hotel separately and book your cruise with me, then I'm only liable and responsible for making sure you get your cruise. If you don't make it to your cruise, that's on you because you've taken on the responsibility of booking the package. So it is such a powerful protection. And I'm not one to throw, ABJA and ATOL around left, right, and centre, but definitely there is so much power in booking a PTR regulated package for that reason. If your flight's delayed and you miss your ship, me as the package travel provider, I'm responsible to either refund you for what you've not been able to do or get you to the ship and compensate you for the time you've missed. It's such a big, big deal, and it actually gets overlooked so much because everyone talks about ATOL instead, but ATOL is such a minor part of the protection in UK. This is UK regulations and UK law. And again, this isn't a sales pitch. I know this sounds like it is, but it's not. It's just highlighting to you a very big deal, and all travel agents provide this in the UK.
I mean, obviously, I will continue to do that because that makes, for me, that's something that we've just always done.
Yes, no, totally.
But I've got friends that book you, and you do everything for them, and they just rock up, and it's just so easy, isn't it? So
well, the transfers were late for one of your friends as well, and it is always a risk. And I'm always quite transparent. Transfers are a nightmare. It's like herding cats, ultimately trying to get transfers to turn up because there's so many factors that can cause issues with transfers. But again, they booked their transfers with me because they wanted that reassurance that if it didn't turn up, it was my problem to fix, not theirs type of thing. So it was me back home walking the dog, having many panic phone calls to our kind of supplier in Spain type of thing, going like, hi, you should be outside a hotel now. Why aren't you? And it was my responsibility to pay for a taxi instead if their transfer didn't turn up. That's the benefit they have of some people are quite confident and they're willing to take on that risk. Oh, I know how to solve it. Other people don't. They want to just turn up and enjoy themselves and not have to panic and know they've got somebody at the end of the phone and go in, this ain't worked, why sort it out? I'm always happy to help out, even if you haven't booked it with me, but I just have less responsibility and liability if it's not booked with me.
Yeah, it was a bit of a pain to sort out, but because I do what I do, I was able to sort it quite easily. But, to the people that are with that don't travel as much and don't understand the systems, they were really stressed. If I hadn't have been there, then God knows what would have happened. Yeah, it's an interesting conversation, is it? Do you book early, or do you know what you're paying and save and plan, or do you book at the last minute and just make sure you've got that money there to book it? It's I think I want to do both, but I just need to stop myself booking cruises in advance, which I'm unable to do.
Cruises are a funny one though, and I do think you're really gonna be out of pocket if you book your cruise early. It's very rare that will happen type of thing. You may miss out on a Black Friday deal or something like that, but they're anomalies and you never know if a Black Friday deal will come. And again, hint and a tip, a Black Friday deal is because something's not selling very well or to make a lot of noise in PR. But if you book within the first couple of weeks, you should probably, within reason, get the best deal that ship and that sailing will ever be. And it's rare that I've ever not had that happen with my customers. I think out of the hundreds of cruise bookings I've made, I can think of a handful of times when not booking the day it goes on sale or the week it goes on sale, it's not been better off down the line.
I have to
usually say, always better off.
I'm happy to share that we paid £6,000 for a suite on a transatlantic cruise. It was we couldn't have got it because it sold out. But I mean, that for a 2-week cruise, you can't get a week's cruise and get a suite at that price. And that was because we booked it so early.
Yeah, but we booked into a ocean balcony on that one. And I think our price for our ocean view balcony was like 2,500. Whereas I was still available. There was like 3, wasn't there, available up until about a month or so ago. And it was $4,000 without gratuities, whereas our price includes gratuities. So that's an extra 1,500 a year later. Like I say, it's rare if you book launch that you will lose out on money. It's down the line, unfortunately, where it becomes really murky, and I can't help that. That's just down to how the cruise lines do their promos and offers. And sometimes we get a heads up, but we get maybe a 24, 48 hour heads up. We don't get a broad map of like January we're doing this sale and March we'll do this sale. They just go kind of like, hey, in 2 days time, get all your marketing ready. We're now offering this great deal. But like I say, usually what will happen is if there's going to be a big sale, so I can only use Virgin as a good example because they do this and they're swines for it, but they'll do 80% off second sailor. Then the next month it'll be 70% off. But what will happen is the cruise price will change to reflect the fact that the percentage has changed as well. So it's actually not far off the same price, but it sounds like a bigger saving type of thing because they're just moving where the money's coming off it. Some people like Celebrity and Royal will usually put the price up, but they'll give you onboard credits to compensate for it. So yes, great, cool. You've got $200 onboard credit that the person who booked last month didn't get, but you've paid more for your cruise. They all do different things like that type of thing. And fluid pricing is a thing in the cruise industry, and fluid pricing is based on as the ship sells out more and more. The more cabins that sell, the higher the price goes.
What is the best deal historically in your whole career that you've ever sold? Is there any one ever that you thought, oh my God?
There's been a couple of Virgin Voyages sailings, just down to kind of Virgin's launch pricing, where I've questioned how Virgin are making money. Because if you use an onboard booking promo, you get $600 onboard credit. And then they were giving away $600 bar tab, and customers were paying around about £2,000 to go on that cruise. So they're getting a 7-night voyage in a balcony for about $2,000, and they get it $1,200 to spend on board the ship type of thing. So I do kind of look at some of those bookings and kind of go like, don't get me wrong, great deal, but what's that about? Obviously, ours is a prime example, and you found it, not me type of thing, but our transatlantic is still to this day one of those I kind of go like, wow, that's an incredible deal. It's rare that they come along.
It's just crazy, isn't it? It's sometimes, and that is the thing. It's like when we got the boys on the Queen Mary for £1 with flights. It was one of those, if we have to book it. And I mean, even our cruise wasn't expensive. I think it cost like £1,800 for all four of us. And we had a couple of nights in New York, sailed across. Yes, so sometimes you've just got to, if you see that deal, you've got to go for it and book it. And it's nothing to do with cruising, but it's like the time that I saw the Mulberry handbag for £300 in House of Fraser on sale. And it wasn't the colour I wanted. So I went to another shop to see if they had the colour I wanted. And by the time I got back to the shop, it had gone £300 for a Mulberry bag. Yeah. So get the deal. Just get the deal.
Very much that. I think that's the best tip you can have type of thing. If you see a price and it's in the price you're willing to pay, go for it at the end of the day. Because it's rare that you will look at it and go FOMO, because like I say, that cabin's going to sell out, and that cabin grade, you can get a balcony on the ship for maybe less, but it's not going to be a balcony that's an ocean view. It's probably going to be a neighborhood balcony, or it's going to be a partial view, or it's going to be near the anchor type of thing. You know, there's a reason why these cabins are cheaper than what you may have paid. They're usually in a bad location, or it's, you know, a last minute cancellation type of thing, but you've got the cabin you wanted at the price you're willing to pay for it. I really do dislike this whole, I'll just wait type of thing, because really do I hear back from those customers because they waited too long and the cabin's not available.
Yeah. And then for me, I just never do it. I just never do anything last minute. I'm a planner. So I won't do it. If I'm going to wait, I won't do it. I'll have bought a new bathroom instead, which is, I need a new bath. Like, we do live in a complete shell of a house, so we're renovating, but I'll put it to something useful. If you book ahead, you've got it booked, so you've got to save for it.
There's also a degree as well of like onboard extras as well. So you see it quite a lot with some people whereby they may book 2 or 3 weeks before the voyage, and they may have got a good deal, but it means they've lost their preferred choice of dining because they had what's left, so they're on second seating. And I've had customers swear blind that I have to get them first seating when they booked a month before, and it's like, people who booked a year ago got first seating. You're booking the month of the cruise, like, and we're talking like Disney's a prime example. Like, you know, my 6-year-old needs to dine at 7 in the afternoon. I'm like, but the people who booked a year ago, they picked first seating because they booked it there and then. You know, there's a lot of that. There's also like when you can pre-book things like spas, when you can pre-book dining, entertainment, all that type of stuff. Again, those people who were booked on the original date, they got it all when it went on sale. They got the head start because they booked it early. You booked it last minute. You've got a great saving, but you've missed out on all those kind of preferential times and slots for things like that as well. So there are pros and cons to kind of doing it, definitely.
Definitely, yeah.
Like, I hope, guys, that's given you a bit of it's a tough topic, really, because there is no right or wrong in this. It's just kind of like trusting your gut at the end of the day, and either working with a travel agent who kind of can guide you and navigate you through that, or joining a Facebook group and just learning from other people of kind of what they've done and how they've kind of made the most out of it. But I hope that's hopefully put some people's minds at ease about it. If you are thinking of booking a last minute holiday, definitely get on it sooner rather than later. But also don't be afraid of joining a launch. Join the launch train, as I like to say, and get involved kind of as sailings go on sale, because I'm pretty confident now, doing this for 5 years, I can say with pretty good confidence with the number of cruise bookings I've done, you'll rarely miss out if you book early on a cruise. So if you've got anything else you'd like to add to that as we wrap up, Sarah?
No, I don't think so. Just Royal Caribbean, hurry up and bring out the October. No, it's October, isn't it? It's 2026 Japan and Med summer sailing, so I could get me out of my misery.
Literally, I think every week I get a WhatsApp from you saying, like, any news, yeah? Is it coming, yeah? You
No, October. You might do it early.
But anyway, guys, I hope you've enjoyed this episode. If you are ever interested in booking a cruise with me, you can find me online anywhere under magical-traveler.com. Or all my social media is magical TRBLR. And equally, Sarah, if the guys are looking to hunt down any of your travel guides or any of your content, where's the best place to find that?
So you can find us on cruisingwithkids.co.uk, and all of our socials are Cruising for All or Cruising with Kids. And then a lot of my Disney content, if you're interested in Disney, is over on Many Travellers.
And with that, guys, we hope you've enjoyed this episode and we'll see you on the next one. Bye.
Bye.